It's often been the case of the earliest of fighting games that for their debut title, at least one female character was featured as part of the roster, if not more. For Mortal Kombat, Sonya was that character. The First Lady of Mortal Kombat, Sonya is a regular character in the games and is popular both within the Mortal Kombat fandom and in gaming more in general because of how iconic she is. We're going to show you what's so interesting about her in this video on the full story of Sonya Blade. Sonya Blade's story revolves around her being a member of the United States Special Forces. Her personality is tough as nails and determined. Much of her character in Mortal Kombat's story involves being single-mindedly fixated on accomplishing a goal, sometimes to the point of narrow-mindedness, and she brings with her a lot of skill and grit to accomplish that goal. Nevertheless, in the games, Sonya is always portrayed as a hero character with good intentions, even if her myopia sometimes leads her astray. Sonya was one of the original 7 playable characters who made their debut in Mortal Kombat's first game. She is already a member of the United States Special Forces and was hunting down the criminal Kano, leader of the Black Dragon organization. Her participation in the Mortal Kombat tournament of the first game wasn't intentional. She ended up tailing Kano to such a point that she ended up at an island on which the tournament was being held, though Kano sought to participate in order to acquire riches. While she agreed to fight in the tournament to protect her unit from being killed by Shang Tsung, the owner of the island and the officiator of the tournament, they were later wiped out. After the tournament was concluded, she later teamed up with Johnny Cage and Kano to fight the former Mortal Kombat champion Goro. But soon, Sonya and Kano are captured by Shang Tsung and Shao Kahn. She's unplayable in the second Mortal Kombat game, but sends a signal to Jax Briggs, her commanding officer, to request help and to relay the events that she's experienced so far. By the end of the second game, Sonya is rescued by Jax and Kano himself is arrested, but the latter flees before he can be taken into custody by the United States government. The US government, meanwhile, wouldn't listen to Sonya and Jax's warnings about the danger Shao Kahn and his forces from Outworld posed. Not too long after, Shao Kahn would invade Earthrealm and steal nearly all of its human souls, though Raiden worked to protect a handful of these souls, including Sonya and Jax's. This founded Mortal Kombat 3. Kano and Sonya do fight in that game, with Sonya eventually winning the fight and throwing him off a skyscraper. Though thought to be dead, it would later be revealed that Kano escaped karma once again. Sonya returned in Mortal Kombat 4, and by the time of this game, she and Jax took matters into their own hands and created the Outer World Investigation Agency, an independent organization meant to defend Earthrealm from invasion by other realms, and the OIA would later recruit Cyrax and Kenshi into their ranks. Sonya's main goal in this game was to assist Raiden and reigning Mortal Kombat champion and hero Liu Kang in protecting the realm of Edenia, while combating the threat of the evil Shinnok. However, during the events of the next Mortal Kombat game, Mortal Kombat Deadly Alliance, Sonya would perish along with the other heroes Kung Lao, Johnny Cage, Kitana, and Jax in a fight against the 2 evil sorcerers Shang Tsung and Quan Chi. She would not be playable in the next game, Mortal Kombat Deception, as a result, but by the end of Deception, the soul of Liu Kang and Ermac worked together to revive the 5 warriors slain by the Deadly Alliance, and so Sonya would return for the last game in the continuity, Mortal Kombat Armageddon. She fought against Sector, who had captured Taven during the time of Sonya and Sector's confrontation. She also later participated in the Battle of Armageddon along with the other heroes, but would be killed by the end of it. The Battle of Armageddon's conclusion is a terrible conclusion for Sonya and the heroes, and is a course of events that Raiden seeked to avert. And so Raiden took the information gleaned from this continuity and sent it to his past self, so that he and the other heroes could make different decisions that would protect their lives and Earthrealm. This founded the Netherrealm continuity, and it started with Mortal Kombat 2011, itself starting before the events of the first Mortal Kombat game. Sonya was only really there to search for her missing commanding officer Jax Briggs, and had little intention of participating. Cage later rescued Sonya from Kano after he seized an opportunity to attack a tired Sonya. From this point on, Cage and Sonya were allies. Her story mode chapter is the second in the game and saw her searching for Jax in Goro's lair. She was ambushed by Shang Tsung, and later fought off Sub-Zero as part of a tournament match. Raiden intervened at this point, receiving a vision of the future, but this intervention angered a confused Sonya. However, Raiden also created a flash of light that allowed her to free Jax and escape. When Sonya attempted to call an evacuation helicopter, it was shot down, and Shang Tsung forced her to fight against Kano, a fight that she won. She and Jax were later approached by Raiden, Johnny Cage, and Liu Kang, and the 2 Special Forces members were recruited in the broader fight to save Earthrealm. Liu Kang eventually won the Mortal Kombat tournament, and Sonya, along with other heroes, was present for the celebration. However, on the night of Liu Kang's victory celebration ceremony, the temple at which the ceremony was being held was invaded per Shang Tsung's orders, and afterward it was found out that Sonya had been kidnapped. Raiden, along with Cage and Jax, rescued Sonya, who then alerted the group to 2 technological signals that she was tracking. She traveled with Jax to the location of the first signal, where she met a new Sub-Zero, the younger brother of the one that she'd fought earlier. The signal she tracked belonged to the human-turned-cyborg Cyrax, who attacked Sub-Zero before Sonya and Jax met him. Shortly thereafter, Jax's arms were torn off by Ermac, and Sonya was left alone by Sub-Zero to tend to him. By the time she was next seen, Jax's arms had been replaced with bionic arms. She had been present for meetings with the mass group of heroes that had been assembled later in the game, and this group was targeted by a wave of robot assassinations and the powered-up Sindel one after the other. While many of the heroes did not survive the attack, Sonya and Johnny Cage lived through it. At the end of the story mode, she and Johnny Cage did their best to hold off Shao Kahn after he had traveled to Earthrealm. Raiden eventually killed Shao Kahn, but Sonya, Cage, and Raiden are left to lament the great losses that they had sustained. Sonya does return for Mortal Kombat X, and is a playable character there. She is part of a wave of heroes that stopped Shinnok from corrupting the Jinsei Chamber early in the story mode, with Shinnok later being captured after losing to Johnny Cage. Sonya laments that her former comrades had been turned into revenants during this episode. As the story developed, it's revealed that Sonya had a child with Johnny Cage, the ferocious and strong Cassie Cage. Her marriage to Johnny crumbled, and their relationship was generally strained, though Sonya still cared for him. Cassie, however, would later grow up to be part of a team mentored by Johnny Cage and would assist in the Special Forces in defending Earthrealm. In the flashback sequence shown during the story mode chapter, Sonya and Johnny Cage once infiltrated Quan Chi's fortress and attempted to fight him, but Quan Chi summoned Scorpion, Sub-Zero, and Jax's Revenant forms to assist him. While Sonya held off the Revenants, Johnny was on death's door after being stabbed by Revenant Jax. Raiden teleported to their location and assisted in preventing Johnny Cage from becoming a Revenant. Sonya then incapacitates Quan Chi, and Raiden was later able to reverse the effects of Quan Chi's magic, and restored Scorpion, Sub-Zero, and Jax to their human selves, and then healing Johnny Cage shortly thereafter. But back to the present, 25 years after Shinnok is defeated, Sonya receives word that amongst the outpouring of Outworld refugees that the Special Forces camp is receiving, the criminal Kano is hiding amongst them. Sonya finds him and trashes him, after Kano provokes her with taunts about harming Cassie. Johnny tells her to cool off, and as a result they learn about the location of Melina's forces and Shinnok's amulet. By this time, the Special Forces and Kotal Khan, a competitor for the throne of Outworld Emperor, are on an uneasy alliance. She later contacts Jax, who has had a daughter named Jackie that's part of Cassie's unit, to be a part of the mission to ambush Quan Chi, a mission which later leads to Quan Chi's capture. The Special Forces camp at which Quan Chi is imprisoned is later ambushed by Scorpion, who seeks revenge for Quan Chi's slaughtering of his family and the Shirai Ryu martial arts clan. Sonya is unwilling to comply, and she states that Raiden can use him to undo the Revenant status on the other heroes. Scorpion's too consumed by his need for revenge, and he and his Shirai Ryu forces subdue the Special Forces camp, along with Sonya. Scorpion beheads Quan Chi, but Devora, one of his associates, arrives to toss him Shinnok's amulet so that he can revive Shinnok just before he's executed by Scorpion. With Shinnok awakened, Johnny Cage is captured. However, Cassie Cage, her team, and the remaining heroes fight back against Shinnok's attempts to capture the Jinsei Chamber, located at Raiden's Sky Temple, and Shinnok is later killed by Raiden after Cassie defeats him. Cassie, Johnny, and Sonya share a moment of happiness as a family at the end of story mode. It's pretty obvious what the plan is for Sonya. She's always going to be a hero. She may have tunnel vision at times, and she may get caught up with her work more than she should, but she's always going to have her heart set in the right place. This arc for her character was resolved in Mortal Kombat X, but it ties into her personality well enough that it gives her depth, and it can maybe be seen as a recruiting trait in future Mortal Kombat stories, though hopefully with less drastic results for her relationships. There's nothing else to say. Sonya is good. She's tough as nails, and she's going to keep fighting the good fight. Look forward to seeing more of her in Mortal Kombat 11 when it releases. And that's it for our video on the full story of Sonya Blade. In the NetherRealm continuity, Sonya is basically a character who intuitively understands the broader importance of the heroic actions that she takes. But at times, she gets tunnel vision and narrows her focus onto more short-term goals, such as beating up a specific villain. That, or she becomes too fixated on beating villains that she forgets to tend to her own relationships. Her relationships with other characters remind her of the people that she's trying to save, and they help her break out of her tunnel vision. It must be said that she often manages not to lose sight of what's important, or at least tries not to. Let us know about your thoughts on Sonya in the comments section below. And that wraps it up. If you like what we're doing, please consider subscribing to our channel. We upload new videos daily. Also, don't forget to switch on the bell notification icon, that way you don't miss out on any of our videos.